Hey there, friends, and welcome back to another 3-Minute Thoughts. My name is Derek, and in the next 3 minutes, we're going to take a look at Acts chapters 20 through 23. In this podcast, we're going to take a dive into looking at Paul's move throughout his missionary travel. We're going to look at some of the final stretches of his calling. It's going to be a road that's lined with warnings, suffering, courage, and absolute trust in the presence of Christ. Acts chapter 20 helps us to see Paul's pastoral heart on full display. As he travels back toward Jerusalem, Paul knows his time is short. When he meets with the Ephesian elders in Miletus, it's more than just a goodbye. It's actually a picture of faithful ministry. He reminds them, I did not shrink back. I taught the whole counsel of God. I served with tears, and now I'm going where the Spirit leads, even if it means chains. For the original hearers, this wasn't just emotion, it was instruction. This is what a shepherd looks like: steady, sacrificial, and anchored to Christ. And for the story of salvation, Paul shows that the gospel advances through comfort, not rather through comfort, but through costly obedience. For you and me today, this is a bit of a gut check. Are we following Jesus when it's easy or when it's costly? Chapter 21 finds Paul heading toward Jerusalem, believers warning him that trouble is coming. Agabus even acts it out, binding his own hands and feet. But Paul says, I am ready not only to be bound, but even to die for the name of our Lord Jesus. For the early church, this was a reminder that suffering isn't evidence of God's absence. It's rather a pathway toward God's plan. In the wider salvation story, Paul's journeys mirrored Jesus' own, heading toward Jerusalem, both warned, both resolved to obey. And it also teaches you and me today that following Jesus doesn't remove hardship, it gives us purpose in the midst of it. In Acts chapter 22, we find that the mob tries to kill Paul, but he stands and tells his story, who he is, how Christ confronted him, and how God sent him to the Gentiles. For those first hearers, this was radical. God wasn't just saving Israel. He was opening the door wide to the nations. He's telling the salvation story that from one people to all people, from one nation to every nation. It's a reminder to you and me today that as we encounter Jesus, it's not a private keepsake, but rather a tool God uses to teach others. And in chapter 23, Paul stands before the Sanhedrin. Chaos breaks out and he's pulled away again. But that night, Jesus appears and reminds him to take courage, because he will testify in Rome. Even when everything looks out of control, Jesus stands beside his people, demonstrating that the gospel will go to the capital and beyond in this world. And if Jesus intends for you to stand, for you and me, we should probably stand. That's it for today. Be well, friends.